And here we are today, hanging around with Brenda Buttrick, and just wanted to catch up with Brenda and see how she's doing, first of all, and see how the family's doing. And so how are you doing in your family? How are you guys doing?
Our family is doing well. There's a lot of adjustments that need to be made during a pandemic, and having 4 young adults at home is a bit challenging. They all have their own lives, but we're doing the best that we can.
Yeah, having a family through the pandemic, it gets confusing, doesn't it?
Very.
Because everyone's got strange restrictions on their lives with whatever they're doing. And so we have to adjust for everyone's life that doesn't flow smoothly anymore like it used to do. Mm-hmm. I know that with my kids as well. It's like you're always constantly juggling what they're doing and then our own adjustments. And boy, I'm looking forward to this being over, aren't you?
Oh, most definitely. My kids are mostly home, doing their school from home, and that has a lot of challenges in itself to keep them motivated and doing the things that they should be doing. And most of them have part-time jobs, so they're living their lives. I think it's challenging because I feel like they've missed out on some things that they would have done but haven't been able to do.
I feel the same way.
Which is a little sad.
It is a little sad. Of course, Timmy graduated last year, and they pretty much missed the second half of the year. And a lot of the things, this year have been just not happening in terms of the normal progress of life and normally how life goes for kids, for teenagers, for young adults. And yeah, the sooner the better. The sooner the better we get through this, the better it is for everybody. So.
Yes, definitely.
And I'm sure you agree. And Brenda, you are the director, that's your title, right? Director,
I'm the administrator.
The administrator of St. Francis Rehab up in Laconia. And I just wanted to touch base with you today. Some difficult things were happening, of course, struggling with the same thing that we're all struggling with. What was it like to be the administrator up there through this time?
Well, first of all, our world changed drastically, really beginning in the month of March, so almost a year ago, and meaning that we had to close our doors, really lock our doors, so families couldn't visit, even physicians and so forth. Everything was done via telehealth, so the nursing home world became a very different place. And it really, just trying to keep the residents' spirits up and have them have their regular lives is very challenging. And then living day by day with the threat that the virus could come in. So for us, we lived all those months doing all the different things that we were supposed to do to try to keep the virus out, meaning doing a lot of testing for employees, because employees basically were the only ones coming in from the outside each day. And so, and then living with the hope that we had a vaccine coming, and our first vaccination was scheduled for January 6th. So we lived with that hope that our first vaccination was coming. And then we went through the Christmas holidays, and I think, through the winter and then the summer months, we were able to do outdoor visitation with residents and their families, even though it was socially distanced. But that was a very nice thing, and that gave them hope and, something to look forward to, having a weekly visit with their families and so forth.
You could see people real.
And we could see, yes, you could really see them.
Not through the window.
Right, not through a window, exactly. And then as the holidays came on, I think it got harder, because the holidays for us in the nursing center always means a lot of invitation for families to come and visit, and social gatherings and things like that. So it became harder. But we were always living with the hope that the vaccine was on its way. So December 26th, I got a call saying that our first resident had a fever, was sent to the hospital and tested positive. So that brought out I don't know, just emotion in me that I knew that things were not going to, fare well. And because we know how vicious this virus is and how easily it spreads. So that set a course that seemed to last probably a period of 5 to 6 weeks of doing a lot of testing for residents, trying to help them in any which way, in any way that we could, and we had many that tested positive. And with the kind of population that we have, we take care of very frail folks that have a lot of different comorbidities and issues going on, else they wouldn't need our services. So as a result of that, we had, did a lot of efforts to do a lot of things, and but we did lose quite a few. And it was very, very hard to watch and to be a part of that because, death is a part of life in the nursing center, but having so many pass at once was very, very sad. These are people that some of them I've had a relationship with for up to 20 years because we have an independent living, and those folks lived in independent living, moved to the nursing center, and really had developed bonds and friendships and things like that. So I'm still grieving.
I mean, as a nurse, you're trained to deal with this kind of a thing, but as you say, the magnitude of what happened was so over the top that, yes, I would imagine that grief process will last a long time.
Yep.
What was it like for you personally, like going through that and your relationship with God, and how did that factor into that difficult time?
I think that I always felt that the Lord would allow us to get through it without having to have an outbreak. But honestly, when I look back at it and see how other facilities have fared and so forth, there's very few that have been spared. So in seeing this, there's so many different ways that I have seen the Lord's work through all of it. I think that those of us who are Christians who love the Lord are much more apt to share that and pray in groups, things like that. And I work in an organization where that's acceptable, and which is very, very, very nice for me and a very good fit for me as a person and as a leader there. So there's been blessings all along the way, even though it's been a very sad time. And I think those blessings have come in the form of gratitude for the people who, those that we have taken care of. There's a lot of gratitude coming straight from them, from their families, their loved ones. We received a lot of letters and good wishes and thank yous, all of that. And it did affect so many workers because, of course, the workers got sick too. Quite a group of them were out sick during the height of the outbreak, and it's just the way that it goes. So, I think having them come back and then just feeling like, we're sorry, very sorry that you got sick, but we're awfully glad to have you back because we really need you. Yeah, right. And there's, I think, more of a feeling of unity, family, and that we've been through quite a storm together, yes. But we've weathered it and came out on the other side. So that's that is a blessing.
I don't know how you did that. I mean, as soon as I heard what was going on, I just got so upset inside, thinking mostly about you up there, and being the leader up there, and I don't know how you held that together.
to be honest with you, I don't know how people do it without a strong faith in God, because I have found that, when, just like any other times in our lives, when the chips are down, that's when we go to the Lord the most. And that was very, very much the case. And, we, you don't know what you can do until you're faced with it, basically. So I think for me, I never wanted to do that. I never wanted to be the person to have this conversation right now. I wanted to have my people spared.
Yeah.
But now that it's over, or I mean, at least this portion is over, I think the concern that I have moving forward is that people have their vaccines prior to coming in, or they have them just as they're being admitted, so that we can avoid this, because I truly am on a mission to not have this happen again. But I mean, I think that if you don't weather through some of that, then you don't see the urgency in it, and it doesn't push you forward to do more, to fight more for the things that
Gotcha.
that those folks need.
Of course, you're going to be working out the emotions of this for months to come. What do you see this difficult time? How do you see that influencing your life in the future?
I think for me, working with elders and taking care of them has truly been my life's work. So this is a chapter in it, and I think that for me personally, it helps put things in perspective. That life is short, and you can't waste your time. You really need to make the most of each day. I'm sorry.
No, that's no problem. Life is short.
Yeah, and make sure that you take care of things and don't let it go.
Right.
Just, say you're sorry, forgive each other, tell each other you love each other.
Those are huge lessons right there. And not that I wish everybody could go through such an experience as that. I mean, we can learn from people like you who have been through that. And you've grown closer to God, no doubt, through this time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it has, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it has, redefined what trust in God is in your life.
Yep.
What trusting is.
He's there with us. He never says we're not going to go through trials, but he always says he will be with us. And I know that he is.
If you could say one thing, a word of hope to people watching this, what would you say?
I would say, I guess my word of hope would be that God is always in control. He's always with us. We just need to reach out to him. He's always there. He just wants us to have a close personal relationship with him. He wants us to reach out to him. We don't have to do things at our own strength. And you certainly learn that as you go along. And I think also, a word of caution for people, even for younger people. Some of the things that we have to do today are inconvenient, but it's not just doing it for ourselves. We've got to do it for the older generation. This virus has taught me that life is not all about what our needs are and how we can meet them, but we've got to do this for others around us who really need that. That makes sense.
It does. Thank you, Brenda, for taking some time to talk. I really appreciate it, sharing your experiences. I know it's been hard. I know God's been doing amazing things in your life, and thank you so much for sharing that with me and with those who are watching here. You're always in our prayer,
Thank you.
and St. Francis is always in our prayer as well. Everybody up there, staff and all the residents, and knowing and trusting that God has brought you through and will continue to do so. So thank you very much, Brenda.
You're welcome.
Take
Thank
care.
you, PC. Take care.